Hello everyone and welcome to the FinTech Times. My name's Tyler and today we're here at the PAY360 event in London. I'm here with David from Mastercard. David, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good. Would you like to tell our viewers just a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm David Head. I work at Mastercard and I'm privileged to be part of our leadership group involved in open banking payments across Europe.
Well, that sounds great. And you are having a good day here at the event?
Absolutely. It's nice to be back with people again.
It is, and to see faces and
yes.
in the flesh. So it's very refreshing.
Yeah.
So, as you know, today we're looking at everything to do with payments.
Yep.
Payments, of course, have come so far within the last year alone. It's very, very exciting.
Yep.
We speak a lot in the pandemic about the new normal.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering what your take was on what the new normal of payments is like.
Yeah, no, it's a good, very, very good question. I think the new normal is definitely there's less physical money. It is more electronic. It's definitely there's less touch, so there's more contactless. And I think you're seeing the growth in use of things like e-wallets. Again, all sort of driven by this need of people to sort of be working from home, shopping from home, and then shops not wanting cash. So everything has gone more virtual payments, and it's kind of accelerated a trend that was already happening.
Yes.
But I think there's still, as part of that new normal, there's still going to be those other means of traditional payments will still exist for a long time to come.
I definitely agree with you. I don't think it's going to be exclusively cashless.
Yep.
But I think it's very exciting how we've seen the transaction change because of the pandemic. I mean, you touched upon that point there where it's sort of been pushed towards this more technology-based model.
Yep.
I was just wondering what your take was on payment innovation and how it had been affected by the pandemic.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, as you say. I thought about this one, whether the innovation has accelerated or the adoption of the latest innovative models. And so what I mean by that is I think you've seen the take-up of digital wallets, you've seen the take-up of contactless. These are all, if you like, payment solutions that have been around for a few years, but now that the interesting thing is that now it's mass adoption. People who weren't used to tapping and going using contactless now do, and they can do it up, and they've got the confidence to do it at high limits. So from a kind of an innovation perspective, I wonder whether we've seen rapid adoption. The innovation angle will be interesting, particularly with as the financial economy kind of consolidates a little bit, whether there be the same level of investment in the true innovation, the leading edge stuff, as there's been over the past 5 years. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be interesting. I think we've seen acceleration, but also as we go in the next period of time, making sure there's sufficient investment will be an interesting challenge.
I think it's two parts of a very good answer there. Mm-hmm. I think when we look especially internationally, I think in the UK we've had quite a good adoption of PayTech, but in other countries, especially for example Japan, which I was writing about the other day, I found out they're not big adopters of cashless at all, which is quite surprising for me. But I was wondering, in your position, what would you say would be able to make these PayTech models more accessible?
Yeah, I think that the key thing, and I think you put on a really good point about Japan and the fact that every market around the world is different for payments. There's different dynamics. Even when you look at, we often look at Europe as a consolidated entity, but actually each individual market has individual dynamics. And I think what the important thing is around accessibility of payments is understanding the dynamics of the market, understanding what the culture is, understanding how people use the current payment methods, and then finding which ways can you improve on that. Where are the real points of friction, if you like, that consumers would benefit from improvement on? How do you keep it being secure yet more convenient? And I think that's the key thing. And if you can find those sweet spots in each market, that's kind of the way you can make it accessible. I think the other angle on accessibility that's really, really important is making sure that you're supporting the whole economy, the whole populace, because I think that it's very easy to get swayed on the latest gadgets and the latest use of mobile devices, but of course not everybody has access to them. And therefore, in any payment ecosystem, you've got to make sure that you're catering that everybody has access to some form of payment, that it is secure and convenient and low cost.
So do you see mobile penetration as one of the biggest drivers of adoption?
I think it's definitely made things, it's enabled. It's definitely been an enabler, and I think smartphones particularly. I think combining what the security features on a mobile device, the kind of the fingerprint, the face recognition, I think it's that convenience with high level of security that's kind of changed the game a little bit. You know, people have found, you know, all the way it's always been important to make sure what you can make payments very convenient but not necessarily very secure. Whereas the mobile device with its inherent, you know, assets, you can combine the two. It's a very easy user experience to make payments from your mobile device, and inherently more secure than bits of plastic or definitely paying with cash.
Well, that's a very interesting answer, and I think in general it will go a long way in the future to see how the hardware marries up with the pay tech.
Yeah. I think it's both the hardware and it's the user experience as well. I think what we've seen, we've done a lot of work personally around open banking and payments there, is that if you can marry them up, it's this beautiful combination of a really slick user experience, something that is more secure, and for everybody in the ecosystem, there's less errors. You see, and therefore what you're seeing from a kind of that, not just the payment, but the whole transaction, is a much better experience both for the payer and the payee. And I think that's kind of that interesting, as you say, those interesting models. It's how you blend security, convenience, and something in it for everybody.
And I think it was really interesting when you spoke about like sort of each to their own in terms of like what the culture of payments is in a society. I think that's very, very interesting. So with that in mind, David, I just wanted to know, from your perspective, what are the payment models that you're most excited to see this year?
I think we're excited to see more and more use of contactless. Personally speaking, I'm very excited about open banking payments, as you might expect. We've really seen those take off in the UK through a number of our customers. And it's kind of where you take that experience further and how you can push it. At the moment it's working really, really well for customers, for example, if they want to pay their credit card, whereas before they might have to get their debit card out and key numbers in. Now they can just literally with a few clicks of their finger and either a Face ID or a fingerprint make a payment, and there's no errors and there's no mistakes. And I think the increasing growth of open banking based payments, I think, is one of the exciting things that I'm personally looking forward to.
Me too.
But there will also be, there are clearly going to be innovations elsewhere as well in terms of more contactless, more digital wallet kind of solutions. So it is, as you say, a very exciting time to be involved in payment tech at the moment.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And I think in terms of like biometrics and how that's coming into pay tech, and especially user authentication, I think it's a very, very exciting time. And a lot we're going to discover today. We've got so many payments providers here. We're going to find out some new solutions. I'm very excited.
It's going to be a good day, that's for certain.
It is, and it's only just started.
Exactly.
So, it was lovely to speak to you, David.
And to you, Tyler.
And thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.